Okay, Dark. Since you decided to run your gator about historical stuff again, it looks like I'm going to have to teach you another lesson. I know you get kicks out of the hillbilly gags and the crude sexual jokes, but it's time for some even harder kicks from credible and peer-reviewed scholarship. Only this time the kicks are on you. Well, come to think of it, this vid of yours is 10.5 minutes long, and you've got maybe 30 seconds worth of anything that isn't hillbilly gags and crude sexual jokes. Doesn't leave that much for me to do, but it sure speaks to your grade school intellect, doesn't it? Now first, a practical matter. Your little toad here can't imagine Isaac being fooled by these tricks, or God either, though he doesn't really explain why God needed to be fooled by anything. You seem to have this idea that there's some sort of problem with Jacob getting the blessing by way of deceit. Heh. Lesson 1 this round in the social sciences, Dark. First of all, as you even roundaboutly admit in your vid, God clearly decreed that the elder would serve the younger. Right there, culturally speaking, is God's legal recognition that Jacob is the one who should be given preeminence. So there's no need to fool God in this one, Dark. God not only knows the score, he set up the scoreboard during the pregame. On the other hand, you did leave out something pretty darn important: Esau's careless sale of his own birthright. I imagine you're such a hayseed that you don't think this is important, but let me give you a clue. Your birthright was a central part of your identity and responsibility in this culture. Treating it this flippantly is a pretty fair sign that you don't take it seriously. By agreeing to such an unbalanced trade, Esau not only dishonored himself, he also dishonored his family. So at this point, Jacob has every right to take what's his. But I'll add one more note about your ignorance here. When you get through playing your Xbox, go look up the concept of the honorable thief. No, it's not just some concept from one of your video games. It's a real social role in agonistic societies, and Jacob plays one to the hilt. If you need help understanding the idea, you can watch this movie. It's about at your academic level. Bottom line is you can keep all that crap about rewarding a lie for personal gain. Now, your little bug here also whines that Isaac must be pretty stupid to think that Esau could have hunted down game so quickly, and that it was stupid to fall for the idea that God helped him on the hunt. Not really, given the family history. You remember this? Oh yeah, this would have been part of the family lore, of course. So no, Dark, given that, Isaac would hardly have been surprised by a reply like that. Then your little fly seems to think it amiss that Isaac wouldn't taste that it was goat instead of game, and wouldn't think about the fact that they had plenty of goats around. Well, 2 news flashes here, one medical, one cultural. The medical one is that as humans age, their senses frequently decline in quality. I'll read you a little bit from this qualified medical source. Try to pay attention. The number of taste buds decreases as you age. Each remaining taste bud also begins to lose mass, or atrophy. Sensitivity to the 4 tastes often declines after age 60. In addition, your mouth produces less saliva as you age. This causes dry mouth, which can affect your sense of taste. Now, Dark, as old as Isaac was, there's a darn good chance that he wasn't able to tell the difference between goat and gazelle, especially if it was seasoned up pretty good. Try to think of things like that next time. The cultural aspect is something I cover somewhat in this vid. Basically, Dark, animals like sheep and goats weren't kept for food. They were kept for their products like milk and wool. So no, Isaac wouldn't think for a minute that the meat was from their own goats. Under normal circumstances, their value was too great to simply eat them. Oh yeah, here was one of your favorite parts, I'm sure, where you get to make a lot of hillbilly jokes about marrying cousins. Real cute. Except you need some history lessons. Close family marriages aren't the strict province of hillbillies. In fact, it was also the normal practice of European royalty, as well as major business families like the Rothschilds. There's a reason for that, and it also applied in the time of Jacob. Basically, because family groups were in constant competition for survival, marriage to cousins was a way to keep the resources for survival within the family group. That's a main reason Rebecca wouldn't want Jacob marrying a Hittite, by the way, and why Laban would have preferred it as well. So you can keep the barfing bug to yourself. As I've said, you live in a world with a 7-Eleven on every corner. You don't have to fight off predatory outsiders to survive the way they do. Well, that's pretty much it as far as rational analysis goes from you on this one. Oh, with one exception. You make a big deal about inaccurate science here. And yeah, actually, you're right. What Jacob did is obviously a form of sympathetic magic, putting a striped object in front of the flock so that they had striped offspring. Yes, Jacob was engaged in bunk, no doubt about it, but the joke is on you. You see, you got set up, but the punchline comes later. Here, Jacob indicates that God showed in a dream that Laban was intentionally deceiving him. And here the reader is now told that God divinely intervened for the purpose of evening the odds that Laban was stacking against Jacob. Jacob obviously did think at first that the sticks were the key to his success, but also obviously God stepped down on Jacob and disabused him of the notion. So double whammy on you that time. You should have kept reading before you made the vid. So there's another lesson in socio-cultural exegesis for you. Got anything to say?
Exegesis? Boy, you can play about me using foul language.
I gotta remember that around here words have a 4-letter limit.